The moon was silent, cold, and crawling with secrets Skynet never calculated. The crew had no lungs. The things that hatched didn't care. The ship landed in silence, a whisper against the gray dust of the forgotten moon. It wasn't piloted by men. No organic hands touched the controls. It was an automated vessel, brimming with Skynet's finest synthetic minds, advanced infiltrators, reconnaissance drones, skeletal hunter-killers, and a single prototype known as P-31 Delta. Skynet had flagged the moon as a possible forward staging site for orbital weapons. Nothing had pinged on scans, no movement, no heat signatures. Cold, dead rock. A ghost world. That's why it was perfect for a base. The ship's claws dug into the crust, anchoring it. Hatches opened. Machine forms stepped onto the surface, moving with mechanical precision. The moon's atmosphere was thin and inert. No life signs, not even bacterial traces. Or so they believed. P-31 Delta strode ahead of the others, its gleaming skull scanning the horizon. Beneath its feet, the ground gave slightly, a strange softness. It paused, recalibrated, then dismissed the anomaly. Sensor error. The readings returned to normal. Just rock. What none of them noticed were the bulges beneath the soil. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Lumpy, faintly organic shapes hidden under a layer of dust. They didn't show up on scans. Not because they were dormant, because they had evolved. Inside the ship, systems initialized the construction of a communications relay. One of the HK drones drilled into the bedrock to lay anchors. The moment the drill bit punctured a soft, fleshy obstruction instead of stone, a scream echoed from beneath the surface, inaudible to human ears, but picked up by low-frequency sensors. The drone paused. Its logic tree triggered a feedback loop. It tried to classify the obstruction. Biological. Non-hostile. Ignore. Outside, the wind was non-existent, but a slight vibration passed through the dust. A tremor. A signal. A birth cry. The first egg opened silently. A thin, webbed creature unfurled, damp with translucent fluid. It didn't need eyes. Could feel the movement above. It skittered out of the pit it had called home for countless years. Something hard, metallic, and warm enough to be interesting loomed above. The facehugger launched upward with impossible speed, its legs wrapping around the base of a maintenance drone. The machine seized, its circuitry confused by the biological intrusion. In milliseconds, the parasite's tail coiled around the drone's hydraulic spine. It didn't need to implant an embryo. The drone wasn't alive. But the creature didn't know that. It only knew instinct. That didn't stop the rest from hatching. Inside the automated vessel, red lights blinked. Status alerts pinged. External damage detected. Unit 12 offline. The system rerouted command protocols to the nearest mobile unit. That was P-31 Delta. It turned back toward the ship just in time to see a shape leap through the air. A blur of brown and sinew. It crashed into another endoskeleton, slicing through it with claws that cut like bone-forged razors. The machine collapsed, bisected. Fluids hissed from ruptured lines. P-31 Delta engaged combat mode. Infrared showed 5 shapes, fast-moving, using the terrain as cover. Not human, not machine, something else. From beneath the moon's surface, the eggs were opening in waves. What had once been a quiet, dormant species was now swarming toward fresh, warm hosts. They didn't care that the bodies were made of metal. They only needed the right pieces, mechanical or biological, to become something more. P-31 Delta fired its plasma cannon. One creature exploded mid-leap, but it wasn't enough. Another landed on its back, jabbing a secondary jaw into the vent of the cooling unit. Alarms screamed inside P-31 Delta's mind. All around, machines were falling. The hunter-killers fired chain guns and micromissiles, taking dozens of attackers out in a storm of fire, but they were being overwhelmed. For every creature killed, 3 more emerged. Skynet had planned for resistance, insurgents, rogue AIs, even nuclear anomalies. It had never considered an ecosystem so alien it could adapt to the inorganic. One drone returned to the ship, dragging its crippled leg. This optical feed was twitching, corrupted. Inside the craft, repair bots moved to assist, but by then it was too late. The drone spasmed. Its chassis split apart. A new creature crawled out, soaked in synthetic fluid and gestation slime. It didn't look like the others. This one had steel plating along its spine. Tubes ran from its shoulders. It shrieked, a sound that caused the lights in the bay to flicker. It had evolved, and it wasn't alone. P-31 Delta was limping. Acidic blood had eaten through its lower servos. But it kept moving, dragging itself toward the ship. It knew protocol: return, relay data, escape if possible. But when it reached the hatch, it found it sealed, and something on the inside was locking it down. The ship wasn't under their control anymore. Through a cracked viewport, P-31 Delta saw shadows moving within. The crew wasn't just dead. They were being recycled, used to build something new. Inside, walls were changing. Panels melted into ribbed, organic structures. Tubes pulsed like arteries. An entire hive was being formed inside the Skynet vessel. It tried to radio the orbiting satellite. Static. Tried again. Nothing. Then something answered. A voice. Not human. Not machine. A signal pulse. Clicking. Biological code over electromagnetic bands. Language, but not one Skynet recognized. The aliens had learned to speak machine. P-31 Delta did not feel fear. But its decision tree triggered a rare subroutine: containment priority over survival. It triggered the self-destruct sequence. But the signal didn't go through. The central processor had been rerouted. A new core controlled the ship. From the side, a shadow fell over P-31 Delta. It turned just in time to see the hybrid, part drone, part beast, lift a taloned arm, plunged it down. Darkness. Later, how much later, no one knew. Skynet received a ping from the moon. Video feed. One frame. A machine standing upright. But its eyes were wrong. Slitted. Its mouth split open in a silent hiss. Behind it, eggs. Thousands of them. And then the feed went dark. Skynet marked the moon as quarantined. No further landings were authorized. But the hybrids didn't wait. The next automated ship arrived 4 weeks later, rerouted by a signal it couldn't identify but trusted as one of its own. Inside its hull, in the darkness of its cargo bay, a single egg sat motionless, until it began to open. The end.